Hey guys, it's Friday, surprise! So it all worked out to where me, Fariha, and Kristan were all able to go see Captain Marvel. So of course we wanted to go ahead and do a review as soon as possible. Oops, am I that person with my sound on? I'm not. Okay, I was worried for a second. So anyways, thanks to everybody who's joining us this Friday night. We really appreciate it. We know it's kind of like last minute surprise. So before we get into everything, first we have to thank our wonderful sponsor In Stock Trades. Kristan, can you tell our friends at home why they should be shopping in Stock Trades?
Well, there's amazing deals on every graphic novel you can even imagine, pretty much. Anything we ever talk about, I feel like is available on InStockTrades.com. They have amazing shipping. You don't have to worry about your books coming all damaged because they were thrown in a box with no care at all, because you guys know you've all been there. Amazon. We've all been there, and it's not good. You're safe with InStockTrades. And if you order over $50, which you know I have to, for that free shipping.
Oh,
no one wants to pay for shipping. If you really have to, it's only $4 though. So hey, if you're in the United States, that's great. They're the best.
Oh, now Kristan, I believe we have a book right now that's on sale. It's our pick.
It's our pick. That is Dr. Aphra. It's an oversized hardcover. It is Star Wars. Badass ladies, that's what we're all about. That's why we're talking about Captain Marvel tonight. You could check that out right now. It is a deal of the week. And you should pick it up. 50% off on their front page.
And guys, if you buy any books this weekend, the Omnibus Collectors Network has a code on right now. You can save an extra 3% off. It's already 42%. Our book is 50%. So why not get 53% off?
53.
Just use the code RAWSHARK to get that extra 3% off. So
it's the best.
That's thanks to Omar, by the way. So if you're curious, go ahead and, when's one of his nights on, ask him what that's about. So you'll notice that Fariha is using her cell phone today. So if it doesn't seem as normal, you see this shadow every once in a while. That's her.
That's her demon self coming out.
Hi everyone. Before before we move on to In Stock Trade, I also want to mention that you should get everything of Kelly Sue DeConnick's Captain Marvel, because I cannot believe how much inspiration from that run is in the movie. So you should get that with that 3% additional off.
That's
a great idea.
Yeah.
I need to do that.
I'm actually sitting in my friend's house, so I may have to jump off in a bit when she arrives. But anyway, so we should get going.
All right, so we're going to start the show with a spoiler-free review for everyone. So if you're interested in seeing the movie, or maybe you just kind of want to see what everybody's thinking before you go into it, we're going to give our overall general thoughts about it, and then we'll get to a point where we will warn you. So when we go into spoilers, we will let you know. So, guys, what did you think, in general, what did you think about it?
My general thoughts, Goose is the best.
Oh,
Goose is my favorite character, obviously. I thought the de-aging of everyone was amazing. I thought it was badass like we wanted it to be. The general thoughts, that's hard for me right now because I'm thinking specifics. And it was everything I wanted it to be. I really enjoyed it.
And I completely agree with Kristan about that as well. It's everything that I wanted it to be. In terms of she was badass, the de-aging, the story. It's like a very unique origin story compared to other Marvel movies and the formulas and stuff like that. I really, truly enjoyed it. There were so many plot twists, so many twists and turns, and it was just amazing. However, my one... so I have a couple of buts that comes into the spoiler.
As long as they're spoiler-free butts.
Yeah. My only one.
We're only talking about spoiler-free butts.
No,
keep your other butts out of here.
Girl's gonna make that a hashtag after this.
Yeah. So my first butts is that I really, really wish this movie was in phase 2 of Marvel. I don't know why it took them this long to bring this character out, because certain things that happen in this that would have made the Infinity War, that scene when he sends out that message, that the whole thing with the pager, so much more epic if we have seen this movie earlier.
I agree. Also, it felt like a phase 1 movie, which most origin stories do.
Right.
It feels very similar to everyone, like a lot of other characters' origin story, where a lot of the same, and we'll get to that, but some of the same critiques other people have were the same kind of critiques they gave a lot of the origin stories that we've had so far.
Right. And the thing is, like, I think like everything I want to talk about is in the plot, in this spoiler. So, but one thing I would say that everyone should see it. I cannot wait to see. After seeing this, I cannot wait to see more Captain Marvel. And obviously, I have an ulterior motive for that, because I believe that will one day, in like 20 years' time, lead the path for Miss Marvel. And I get to audition as her mother. So I have a very ulterior motive for that. But anyway, so that's my overall view.
Okay.
What was your thoughts?
Well, okay, first, somebody mentioned in the chat, and I want to say it before I forget. Happy International Women's Day, you guys. I should have read that. Yeah. I'm so glad that I get to be with my fellow comic book loving ladies to talk about a female superhero movie. Like, how
perfect release date too, right?
I'm living my best life. Okay, so my thoughts. So I went in with zero expectations. I did do some reading ahead of time, just Kelly Sue DeConnick's run. So I had read, I guess, like the first volume of her like original run, and then I read the ones that we reviewed last Sunday.
Right.
So I didn't have any expectation because I didn't have a real connection to this character before we started it. But of course, I went in with a lot of hope because this is a really big deal. The first, even though it took so long, the first female-led Marvel movie. I was really happy with it. It had so many poignant moments for me, and I was talking to Amanda about it today. I talked with Elliot about it. That the farther I'm away from the movie, the more I keep thinking about certain parts of this movie and how much they mean to me and how much they affected me. I don't love the movie as much. It didn't as much as I love like Guardians of the Galaxy 2 and Thor Ragnarok. But movies like that, I leave and I'm like, oh my gosh, that was so fun and crazy. But you don't get movies like that from the get-go with a new character either, So I'm still, it doesn't lessen how much I love it because I'm excited to see how this goes for her. I thought this was a great first movie for her. I thought it was a great intro. I loved Nick Fury in this. I really appreciated seeing kind of a green Nick Fury, before everything else happens, before he gets a little more hardened about things. It was nice to see him first witnessing all of these things. I really liked it. I loved how they connected.
He freaks out so much.
Oh, yeah. Man, I mean, it was great. They did a great job with Goose. It was very comic book accurate.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I think everyone will really enjoy Goose. I loved that there were things in this movie that I did not expect, despite having knowledge of Captain Marvel. So I think that, for people who are watching this now who haven't seen it yet, who are going to, even if you're like very much well-versed in Captain Marvel, you're due for some surprises. I think there's some things that you won't maybe expect, and I think
it's actually even if you're well versed in Marvel universe, like myself. Mm-hmm. Like
exactly, because I think that's good. Some people don't like that.
Twist and turn.
I think some people at home don't like that because they don't like it to change from the original comic book story. But for me, I think they're giving you something new that you like, both you and new comic book readers or people who don't read comics can look forward to. I keep forgetting her name. I remember Monica, but Monica's mother, is it Marie? Maria. She was phenomenal. The actress was phenomenal. I loved her. I loved her so much. And there's another actor that I want to talk about, but I'll talk about that when we get to the spoiler part, because I feel like me talking about that character at all will kind of ruin it. I thought it was really great. There's some things that the farther I am away from it, I think we could have improved the movie. But that being said, I'm very, very happy with it. My rating is about like an 8 to 9 out of 10. So I think 8.5. And I say that because like I don't see. I think it could be improved, but for me, I'm like she is gonna really wow everybody in Endgame. That's how I feel.
Right. So for me, I think I would put it as a 7.5. 7.5 to 8, depending on how enraged I am about two of my butts. So it kind of sliding between that two, like, it becomes 8. But I think like I want to see it second time to kind of come, like, I think that's when it will come to. But I cannot wait for Endgame now. Like, I cannot. Like, this.
Oh yeah.
This just like. And by the way, that post-credit scene, I don't like, we're going to talk about it in spoiler more. But
yeah, you can't talk about it yet. Stop talking about it.
Okay, fine. We're going to talk about that because I also have something to say about that.
Anyone who hasn't seen it needs to be aware.
About, right?
It's just like everything else. There are 2 post-credits. Stick around for all of them.
Yeah.
Right.
So Kristan, in the chat earlier, you rated it like 167 out of 10. Do you stand by that rating?
I was walking out of the theater. I was really excited about it. I'm not going to rate it a number because I can't do that. I have no idea. I really enjoyed it. That's all I got.
That's good.
I'm not a number person.
The 107 out of 10.
Oh yeah, and before we get into spoiler territory real quick, I do want to let everybody know that it is definitely like child friendly. Like I think it's pretty family friendly, this movie.
Yeah.
So if you have any young women in your life, even like very, very young, please take them to this. It has such a great message for young girls and young boys and young everybody, non-binary, what have you. I think it's a great message for just human beings in general. Mm-hmm. Please take your kids because honestly, I mean, it's such a great message.
And it's also very like, if you never watched a single MCU movie, you can still watch this.
Yeah. I agree. Honestly, you could probably watch this first before you watch any Marvel movies. You'd be fine.
Yeah, this is and by the way, like, anyway, we're gonna talk about it in a spoiler. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's everything that was such a surprise for me. I don't want to talk about like. So yes, go see this movie, please, please, please go see this movie.
All right.
If you grew up in the 90s too, like it is such a fun blast from the past.
The song choice was great.
Oh my gosh, amazing soundtrack.
There was also like there's like there's an internet cafe situation that got me laughing so much. Like,
or even like loading up a disc.
Yeah.
That got me good.
That's the thing. All right, so I have to kind of jump out of here shortly, so I would like to.
Let's go into spoilers. Let's do it.
Yeah,
you do your spoilers.
Right, guys, you're at home. We're telling you right now, this is the time for spoilers. If you don't want to spoil this movie for yourself, jump out. You can come back later. Don't worry. You can come back after you see it.
We hope you do.
Yeah.
Spoiler time. And feel free to comment. I always check the comments after, and so we can talk about it. All right, but here we go. Spoiler time now.
All right. So a couple of things that I want to quickly mention. First of all, I felt like there was a very strong queer baiting going on.
And I disagree.
I know. We talked about it quietly, but I still wanted to recreate the conversation because you actually changed my mind about this. So there was 3 butts. So you took care of 1 butt. I felt like between Maria and her, there was a very, like, the way they were talking, it's more than friends, because I don't talk to my girlfriends like this. So I had a very strong, feeling. I'm like, are they? So there's like a 2 points to that. First of all, why are you showing it to that way anyway? Why can it just be like, 2 friends normally talking? But then second point of that, if you are going to hint at it, why not go all the way? Like, why do like half and half? But then, Maddie, you had a very interesting point to that. So repeat that.
Yeah, and I thought about another one too while I was sitting here. But so when I watched them together, me being someone who would like to see that, I did ship it immediately, of course. But that being said, watching them, for one, they did grow up together, basically. So they're that close. Two, they were in the Air Force together. And, friends of mine that I know that did serve are that close. That's just how that is. Because it's a whole different kind of world there. Like, they develop those very, very, very strong bonds, those familial bonds, and they're trained to do that. So, like, to me, it made more than enough sense, because that's her family. Absolutely, that's her family. And I do want to talk more about that scene later, but as we go through. But I did not see it as queer baiting. But I did, as somebody, I watched that and I wanted them to be together.
Right.
So it's a weird thing to balance.
Right, and
that's how I see it.
Like, once you pointed out about the whole situation about the Air Force and them being like in the service and all that, I think that makes sense to me. Like, that actually, like, kind of, I'm like, oh, okay, I didn't see it from that point of view. Like, they're more sisters than anything. Like, so yeah. So you kind of helped me with one of the buts.
But like, if MCU ever changes their mind, I'm cool with it.
That's true. But no, to be honest though, I kind of go back and forth on that, because even if MCU kind of changed their mind with it, even in the stories, that's not her. Like, she's a very straight woman. I would rather MCU brings a gay character in, because Marvel...
did she? Sorry, go ahead.
No, because Marvel has gay characters, so they can bring them in and use them. Like, I'm more for that versus having... I don't want to hear any more, like, any more controversy of like, oh, turning people something. Then I don't want that. I don't want to hear that. So if they're gonna bring in the first gay character, it better be actual, like, none of this controversy. Because at that point, if someone complains, then you are a dumb homophobe. Get the fuck out of my life. So then it becomes a very thing. But the thing is, like, when you do this, the conversation gets muddy. Then I don't want that.
I mean, you've read more Captain Marvel than I have, but what makes you say she's a very straight person? Because
she's always dating men.
That doesn't mean anything, though.
No, but the thing is, I know, but there's never been a discussion. It's not a thing. Like, it's.
There could be one now, though. I'm just saying. If it happens, I'm cool with it as well. I'm with Maddie.
No, I'm gonna be 100% cool with it too. But the thing is, they better do it in comic properly first, and then transfer over. Or even if they're doing it in the movies, it should be done properly. I don't know what that is, because I feel like there's other stuff.
I think if they just did it in a chill way, I don't care.
Yeah, I think as long as it's true to life, which could be, she dated men all her life and now she's with a woman. I mean, that happens
all the time.
Mm-hmm.
No, but the thing is, like, I feel like that don't you think that also does a disservice to gay characters that are already established?
No,
because it's true to life. I mean, that's the thing. That would be treating a human just like any other human. You could suddenly be in your 60s and you meet a woman and things change for you. I mean, that's just life, Okay.
Yeah, I see that. Okay. Yeah. So
I'm sure people would have problems with it, but they have problems with everything. They had problems with the gender swap with Marvel, Yeah,
that's a big difference. And I loved that, because I wasn't expecting it.
Well, she was great.
Oh, she's so great.
So good.
Annette Bening was actually Marvel, and that was not even a part of the, that was completely under the rug. I mean, I didn't see any spoilers on this, and
no one knew.
Yeah, It turned out that she was. For a very short while, I thought that she was her future version. Like, I thought that that's how they're introducing something about the time element, and she's seeing that. Or she's Helen Cobb from the Kelly Sue DeConnick's run.
Well, that's what I thought and I think that's what she's inspired by. So I just assumed when she showed up, because I didn't know Marvel's name. Uh-huh. So when she showed up and they said the name, I was just like, oh, okay, she's just like that mentor from Kelly Sue DeConnick's run. So I was like, okay. And then when it happened, she's Marvel. I was like, oh, okay, that's cool.
And she was amazing. Like, she was like especially when she takes on the supreme intelligence, like she switches so suddenly. It was amazing. Like I could not. Oh my god, that I wanted more. Now I want Annette Bening to be in MCU forever, but sadly the way it is, like I don't see her coming back. Like it's pretty much one and done, and it's possible that she might come back later as like, you know, in Captain Marvel 2 or whatever, which I'm pretty sure is going to be happening, that oh well, you know, as flashbacks and stuff, but she's not going to be part of like a complete, I don't know, but she was amazing.
Probably done with it, but
yeah. The other thing was, my other butt was Ronan the Conqueror. Like, I don't know if Kevin Feige hates Lee Pace, whether Kevin Feige hates Ronan. I don't know why they do this to this character, because I was so hoping when I heard that he will be in this movie that his character will be redeemed a little bit, because that character is so well done in comics. The whole arc where understanding how evil Kree actually he goes through that whole thing, becomes one of the good guys, not against Skrull, because Skrull is still evil in Marvel Universe. That's a twist I loved so much, that they, like, you know, they twisted that Skrulls are actually refugees and Krees are hunting them down. But that is something that he goes through in comics, and I don't know, they just turned him into this Joker character. I was like, oh my god! And now he's dead in Guardians of the Galaxy, so that we're not gonna see him again. And it was like this whole thing was like, no, the woman, like, you know, and all that, and I'm like, who the fuck cares? He's dead. Like, I was really annoyed by that. Like I was so annoyed. Like I wish that it was him in Jude Law's like, I don't know, something like that. Like I don't know. It was just like, I'm like, and I also have, like, you know, I really like Lee Pace, so I wanted him to more. I wanted him to do more. So that's my other butt.
That's fair.
I don't know if anyone cares. Like, it's such a useless thing. I'm like, why was he there?
Well, they had to build the Kree thing, and that's the person that's the figurehead that, you know, audiences can connect with. So it makes sense.
I don't know. And I think it's a Kree.
I think it's just, you just feel sad because you just like him in the comics, but it's too late for him in the movies.
Oh, I know.
He's dead. This is it. Like, he can't be redeemed. He's done.
He's done. So done. Like, oh my god. But the thing is, like, I really like the idea. Like, I wish there was like more of this, like, where it's like they just send these people, say that, oh, Skrull's there, and they just go and destroy them. Like, I really wish there was, like, you know how in Black Panther there was like a 5-minute, like, not at the very beginning, there's a exposition that kind of tells you what Wakanda is and everything. Was there? There was nothing.
They did not do much of that in this.
Right. I wish there was, though. I wish there was a very quick, like, you know, thing that shows that how the Conquerors are just going around decimating thing, and that could have been part of, like, you know, when Ben Mendelsohn's character.
Here's the thing about that, though, and here's why I think they didn't do it. Is if they had shown too much of that, you would have guessed what the twists and everything are. And then I was talking to Amanda about it earlier, and she had a good point where, like, I think just some audiences, they felt like they would connect more with Captain Marvel if she was at Earth with, you know, meeting, like, that was more important. That was the focus. So she could really be integrated into the Marvel universe and meet, you know, Fury and spend time on that instead. Although I do agree that I would have liked a little more showing of the Kree planet, but maybe they're just saving that for later movies, you know, because I think she will go back to space. She's not going to stay on Earth. So they want to leave something open, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a very fair point. We can't, like, this is just more of like a wish list. Like, you know, I wish. Like, you know, everything was like, you know, everything was done really well. This was just like a many additional little things that I wish was the case. So what about you guys? Did you guys had any wish list, like you wish was done different or were more of?
Kristan, what'd you think?
My number one wish, my super serious wish, you guys. You're not going to believe it. At the beginning, when Goose is introduced, Lawson says, "Oh, she likes you. She doesn't normally blah blah blah." Okay. Later on, Nick Fury says he. Why can't we establish a gender for Goose?
You know, do Flurkins have genders?
Goose is
Well,
binary.
as a cat, it has to have something happening there. It looks like a cat. Now, here's the deal. I know Goose is played by a boy cat, but as someone who has a female orange tabby in her life, if you didn't know, they are rare. Female orange tabbies, most orange tabbies are boys. So if Goose is suddenly a girl, I want to know about it. I want to celebrate it. I want Willow to know that she has representation in the film. You guys are like, really? Yes,
no,
really.
I think it's cute. I think it is a girl because I mean, because Goose is a mom in the book, right?
Yeah, she becomes a mom.
Right, but as like Goose in the comics has a different name. She's not an orange tabby, so it's a different cat, right?
So the question is, did you guys like the idea that that's how Nick Fury lost his eye?
Absolutely.
Yes, 100%. It is
I
hilarious.
thought it was great.
This brings like
especially because he trusted because he in the movie they said he lost his eye from someone he trusted. He trusted that cat.
Yes,
Fury loved that cat more than anything.
Loved it so much.
because he is like somebody. Because he said last time when I trusted someone, or somebody, and then I'm like, oh God. That man
so
did not
good.
get over that. Like the fact that brings like Winter Soldier in such a different light now. It's like because if Captain America finds out this information,
I hope they use Goose in the next movie because honestly, like Flurkins are the most dangerous thing on the universe. Like not even
I want to
survive a Flurkin.
No, but the thing is like I desperately want Rocket Raccoon and Flurkin scene from the comic.
That's gonna happen because
from the comic,
around and on Earth.
Yeah.
So Rocket's gonna meet Goose next movie. There's no way.
Because the thing is like, oh my God, I would have put that on my. So other thing I want to say though, Ben Mendelsohn, that man. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen him in a bad thing. Like he's never bad. Like he never is. And he sold that whole Kree scroll thing.
I'm in love with him. Like honestly, I loved him. He was so good. And so when I was watching, I was like, can we just let him be the Skrull in the when we do Cosmic Saga, when we eventually do Annihilation, because it's too late to develop Super Skrull probably, because we need to have Fantastic Four to do that. Let's just let him be our Skrull in the story because I love him. And I'm glad that Skrulls get to be just good guy refugees in this movie. I love it.
And the thing is I also like the idea that he's still alive because there was a whole thing about, oh, he's shot. Oh no, there's going to be a tragedy. I mean, everything that you think is like a trope, they subvert that so well. And I want him to stick around, because that's going to be very interesting. And I don't know whether in Endgame what's the situation going to be like.
I don't think we'll see him.
Yeah, I doubt that.
But I think he'll be a part of the future because there's no way they're not going to go cosmic after this. There's just none.
Right.
I think they haven't announced too many movies because they want to wait till after Endgame to announce kind of what the next frontier is. Mm-hmm. And I think maybe in 20 years for Captain Marvel, maybe they're settled and he can come help.
Right. The other thing was that wanted to mention was we want to talk about Monica Rambeau. We have to talk about Monica, not just Maria.
Monica was Captain Marvel at one point, right? Was she the one that was in that little mini series that I read? Oh gosh, Hate was in the name or something. The Marvel book.
Okay.
Monica was in a short series with this kind of ragtag team of superpowered individuals. Someone in the chat's gonna know.
Is it like the no, she wasn't in the crew. Black Panther and the crew, she wasn't in it, but
it's not that. It's something called Hate something.
Oh boy.
Someone will know in the chat.
Okay. So she
Next Wave. Freddie, good job. She was in Next Wave and she talks about being
oh yes,
Captain Marvel once.
Yeah. She was Captain Marvel. So
and she's very like bitter about like how she wasn't that for long.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I keep on saying that, guys, you got to read like KSG's first run, because that's when Carol and her go on a trip. Like, she calls her to help her out, and she's like, oh yeah, thank you for asking for my name. And then Carol's like, you haven't used that name for 20 years. What are you talking about? So there was like, this bitter relationship between the two, but it's very like, they love each other, but it's like they have the same relationship as, let's say, Rocket and Star-Lord kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I was kind of very happy to see how they kind of switched that around a little bit. And I don't know, I was kind of sad that, she's not going to be in Endgame. I mean, she's now an adult, right? Like, because if she was a child in 1996, so she's an adult now. And just like, oh no, is she gonna be in somewhere? She's gonna be mentioned somehow. I don't know, but the thing is, like, I would love nothing more than Monica Rambeau and like Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers team up in Captain Marvel 2. Like, I'm thinking about Captain Marvel 2 already. Like, all the things that I would like to see in there. And she was just the cutest thing ever. She was like the brightest thing, like Lieutenant Trouble. Anytime, the first time when she said Lieutenant Trouble, like in the flashback, I actually teared up. Oh my god, this is so amazing. I don't know, like, but a little part of me was also wish that it was Kamala. Like, I don't know, somehow. But I don't know. Because
one
I would
day
rather have her, like, show up as a young whippersnapper or something.
it needs to be the right time, and it just wouldn't have been the right time.
Yeah. Too much. That's like, that would be like introducing too much.
So I want to jump in and talk about a part that really got me. And I was talking to Omar about it, and to him it was like, just like, that's a regular Marvel move. But for some reason it really got me. Mm-hmm. And maybe you two agree, maybe not. Maybe someone in the chat will feel the same way. Maybe it was just me. I don't know. But towards the end of the movie, it's just it's just Carol and Jude Law's character.
Oh, I don't.
And Jude Law is the Kree that kind of started this whole thing, kind of indoctrinated her, and whatever. So there's that scene where he's crashed. He's pretty much at the end, and he's like, okay, I told you that you would never be truly like good or whatever until you were able to beat me and knock me down without using your powers. And that moment, he's gearing up, and you think, okay, well, they're just going to fight it out now without her powers, and she'll prove that she can win and whatever else. And then she just shoots him with the photon instead, and then says, I don't have to play by your rules anymore. Mm-hmm. Or I think maybe that's not exactly how she said it, but regardless, like, for some reason, I guess it's because it follows that, when she flies up and she does all those cool things, and she defeats the intelligence or whatever, she gets out of it and has that cool montage where she sees the past of, like, every time she got up, and she does that really great speech about how she's human, yada, yada, yada. But for some reason, it got me so much, and maybe because I'm sure it's because of my own experiences, because immediately I think of, like, what it's like to be in a toxic relationship where you're constantly playing by the other person's rules. Right. Because you have situations like that. And I'm sure I'm thinking too much into it, but I'm just going to share my story real quick.
Please.
Where someone, they make you think that you have the ability, right? And they're like, oh, well, we're in the same playing field. Do this how I'm saying for you to do it. And that moment, she's like, you don't have any power over me anymore. I don't have to play by your rules. I don't have to do anything that, anything that you set out. I'll do this how I do, and I'm not going to play your rules. I'm just going to end it because I don't have to listen to you. And it hit me so hard, way more than I thought it would. And I cried earlier in the movie. I cried with, like, Maria, because that was really touching. Right. The flashbacks really got me. Just her getting back up. But that one has stuck with me. And I don't know. I'm sure it's my own personal experience. But anyways, I loved it. There were so many poignant parts of this movie, because I've read, some people didn't like the script. Personally, I really liked it, and I think maybe other fellow women would. And I don't want to, like, generalize, but a lot of this really got me, and I do feel like it was very empowering and very moving, and I loved it. And maybe it's something we can talk about really quick. So after the movie last night, I'm gonna call Omar out, but I'm gonna do it in the sweetest way because I love him. He's like, I wish she could have shown more emotion.
Because Doctor Strange shows so much emotion,
and that's what after right after I was like,
because Steve Rogers though shows so much. I mean, I am dying from the emotion that Thor exudes in every single scene.
Yeah, so I asked, I was like, have you ever asked that about any of the male, of like Avengers after watching one of their movies? Has that ever been your thought? And he's like, well, I've said this and this. I was like, I don't think, no, like that's not the same thing. Have you ever at the end of one of these movies thought, I really wish Steve could have shown more emotion, or I really wish Doctor Strange could have shown more emotion? Because there's a bias there, because typically when we have women like this, like we expect them to be like crying as they're like, oh, I'm tired. Because Wonder Woman she has a lot of emotion, which is appropriate. I think that makes sense for her character. And Brie Larson didn't show it in the same way. But I didn't think any less of her. I didn't think she needed to be any more emotional. To me, that was very appropriate for her character, for the indoctrination she's been through with the memory loss and everything else. To me, that makes sense, and we may see more later, but she may just not be that kind of person. What did you guys feel about her acting and how she displayed the character?
What do you think, Kristan?
I didn't at all think it wasn't emotional. Like, I never was like, oh, she's not showing enough emotion. I don't know what she didn't convey that was conveyed. I don't see that at all. The whole time, the scene you're talking about, especially, any scene I can even think of, she was showing some sort of emotion. We all do all of the time. Like right now, I'm confused. Like, I'm baffled. I don't understand what you're talking about, right? Like, I don't know when. I thought she killed it the entire time.
I did too.
I never was like, oh yeah, she needs to be crying right now. Like, no.
So I'm
never.
going to be fearless about this, and I'm going to say this: unless you lived as a woman in a man's world, you would never understand what she have gone through. Period. Like every single thing that she's going through, like that whole seething anger, it's like only another woman understands that. Like that seething.
Especially a woman that's been like a soldier and one that's been brainwashed. Like to me, she has no memory. So when she lands on Earth, she has no connection to anything. Like it's just kind of like, okay.
Like she said at the beginning, she doesn't even know who she is.
No.
Right. And
that alone is her displaying an emotion, though. I mean, it's like the thought process in that of any guy saying she's not showing enough emotion is what? Yeah, we're thinking of she could have cried more. Like, what do you want her to do?
She made she was snarky and she was just doing her best.
Yeah.
And at the end, she didn't have all her memories either. So it's not like she could leave the end and be like, oh, my life, I remember it. It's just kind of like, I still don't, but okay.
I'm doing my best.
The thing is that she's actually thinking that she's a Kree. She thought that she was a Kree person, and then she realized that she's a human. And then even as that, like she's like always like, that there is like underneath that seething anger about her. I can connect with that. I know that because I think about all the flashbacks that she was having, all the chads in her life, and all that. I thought it was perfectly appropriate. As a matter of fact, I would have been mad if she was like crying or showing too much, because at that point
it would have been ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like, bitch, you don't have a memory. What's wrong with you? Like, stop laughing. Like, and then remember that one scene that got to me. Like, you were saying that your emotional part was the end. Like, I completely understand. Like, that I don't have to prove anything to you, because there are so many times I don't want to get into that. It's not so much for relationship from me, but in terms of work related, when people would say this kind of weirder shit, like, it's like, oh, you have to kind of like, do it this way. Like, no, I don't have to, because the way you're doing has been wrong for all this time. Mm-hmm. I'm going to create my own rule and my own thing. The one that, speaking of not showing emotion, she was fighting this Skrull, just screams at her, and then she just screams
back. Oh, that's so good. I love that. Man, she was so fun to watch fight. Honestly.
Yeah. That was so good.
The Skrull just goes, and then she's like,
I feel like that's super, like, more than maybe any other Marvel movie. That is so, it felt true to life to me, because I was like, if I was doing this, I'd probably scream in that guy's face too, and we laughed, but we're like, oh, it's because we can relate to that, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And what you're saying about, I don't, what did she say? I don't have to prove anything to you, or whatever that was.
Yeah.
That got to me too, because it's like, I mean, like you said, Fariha, I think about work situations a lot with that.
Right.
And I mean, I had a former boss, I won't tell you the whole story, but I did all the work I was supposed to. I guess this is part of the story. All the work I was supposed to do for him, left it on his desk because he was in his office. And I walk out, I'm headed to the restroom. And he didn't go in his office yet, stops in the hallway, yells at me down a hall, yells, "Little girl."
Ooh, girl.
I was not a little girl, guys.
Oh
I wasn't like 12 working in this company. I can't even explain to you the emotions that went through me at that moment. And I turned around and I was like, "It's on your desk." And I just kept turning back around and I went to the restroom as I played. But moments like that, exactly what I was thinking of too. I'm like, so many times, like, all three of us, we have different stories, we have different lives. We can all relate to that feeling of how angry you get when men treat you like that. Like, it was so true to life. Her reaction was perfect. Like, it was great.
Yeah, no, and then not just that. Like, when she steals the bike from that guy, it's like, "Oh, give me a smile," and stuff like that. Like, we have all heard it. Like, that's like such a true to life thing.
And she's so chill about it too. She's just like, okay. She stole the bike. It's like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I'm looking at my map. I mean, what do you want me to do? Why should I smile? I don't owe you that. Like, and it's one of those things. Like, I don't know. Like, I know that people have a lot of things. Like, we always try to say that, oh yeah, it's something. Like, frankly, some things are just for, you need to have some specific experience in your life to understand some of the things. It's just what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I would say, and I would request all our viewers to do this, please, for the love of God, stop comparing Wonder Woman to Captain Marvel. The only time you're allowed to do this, if previously you can show me, like, with time-stamped discussion where you compared Thor to Captain America. Like, you have in-depth discussion about how first Thor movie differed from first Captain America movie. You can compare Wonder Woman and Captain Marvel, because that's equivalent of doing that. It's not the same, because guess what? I know we all ladies have boobs, but we have different personalities. We're different people, and we're not comparable like that.
Yeah.
Like, some of us
I need that reminder too, honestly, because I fall into that trap talking about it, because I'm like, okay, I'm comparing her to Wonder Woman, and I'm comparing her to Black Widow and Scarlet Witch. And I'm like, why am I doing this?
The only other person you should be comparing her to is another military person. Like, another female military person, or even male. Like, you should
compare her to Superman, because she's like so crazy powerful.
Right.
And we don't even get to really see that, but you see like bits and pieces at the end. But I think she's going to be wild next movie when she's actually had 20 years to work on this. And because we have somebody that powerful. Like,
right.
Okay, so she's like Superman of Marvel. I mean, like, outside of Hyperion, but like,
except
right.
Not boring.
Right. Like, yeah, not that.
I won't say that.
Like, no, but the thing is, like, no, in the comic, she's not, though. In the comic, her power is she can absorb kinetic energy. Like, she can absorb anything that's thrown at her and give back as kinetic energy. As an engineer, I can tell you that's that is mega powerful. Like, that is, so pretty much, like, if Superman hit visions her, she can absorb that energy and give it back tenfold,
Yeah.
That's her power. Over here, she's a slightly more elevated power, which is powerful. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't. People have that thing of that comparison of the power matrix and stuff. I don't give a shit about that because guess what? There was all these powerful characters together, and they couldn't beat Thanos in Infinity War because at the end of the day, he was smarter than them. Like, or he had more things going for him. So I would rather try to see. One of my wish lists for Endgame is her and Thor work together to get rid of Thanos, while the rest are working together to bring everyone back.
I agree. I think it would make a lot of sense for her to be like the linchpin to really weaken him and be the big fight. And then I would like it to end with either Iron Man or Captain America doing the last blow, just because it's the end of their like story. I would like their story to end with him. Sorry. Well, here's what I'm hoping for Captain America. Okay, I'm hoping that he gets to be sent to a parallel universe where he never got frozen, and he gets to live out his life normally. That's what I want.
I know, right? It's super cheesy, but I actually want something.
I think it's good for him, and I think it's fine to have cheesy endings to somebody's story like that. He's been in movies for 1,000,000 years. Let him just go and be happy.
So, and what did we think about Stan Lee tribute?
I thought it was nice.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, the beginning, like, I was like, why am I already tearing up? Like, just the beginning, like, shot. Oh, my gosh. And then him on the bus, his cameo.
Reading Mallrats.
Yeah.
It's perfect. I love that.
Yeah, I kind of like, I teared up a little bit.
Ooh,
that.
Kristan. Sorry.
No, go for it. Go for it.
No, Kristan, did you catch the Kelly Sue DeConnick?
Yes, so fast, but yes.
Yes.
That was great.
Yeah, I saw her. You can't miss that hair.
Fast, yeah.
I was like, guys, it's Kelly.
Like, yeah. So, she's actually she's very cute in real life. I met her at NYCC, and her head is like here for me, and I'm 5'3", so that tells you something. But the thing is, I actually wanted to, because I got the glimpse, and I wanted to actually message her over Instagram asking her, were you in the movie? And then
she posted her outfit.
Yeah, she posted her outfit. Then I'm like, oh yeah, it was her. Like, she's super nice. She called me beautiful. Hey, listen. I mean, I'm completely biased. Like, now I can't. I mean, I have to love everything she writes.
You have to love her forever now.
Yeah, forever. She called me beautiful. What did we think about the end credits then, guys? Okay.
I mean, you love seeing his beard back, right?
Guys, that was my goodbye. Like, it was so emotional. Like, I felt all of these things, all the feminist feelings and all these things that happened in the movie. I felt all of that. And then it was all undone. All my feminist views were undone by that beard.
Because you can still be feminist and be into Captain America's beard.
I don't know. But I was like, I want that beard forever. Who wants Captain Marvel movie? I want bearded Captain America movie. But it was my my goodbye to that. So oh my god, like, but I was actually hoping that they would actually scream when she just showed up like that. It's the worst fury.
That would have been good.
Yeah, they were like, ah, like what? And then also the Goose ending. Oh my god.
Yeah, that was so good. My dad predicted that right before it happened. He's like, I wonder if they're gonna bring Goose back at some point and like hack up and then it happened. And I was like, oh,
and the most cat way right on the damn desk.
So
like,
good.
I mean, because the whole time I was thinking, I'm like, how is Fury going to get? So where's Goose now? Is my question. My question is, where's he now?
Where is Goose?
Somewhere grooming. That's all we got, right?
Yeah.
Like, where is he, she, like, that we don't, since we don't know what their gender is, but
I'm going to establish it's a girl because I feel like, well, and how did Goose even happen, right? Because, like, the first appearance was at the beginning with Dr. Lawson, which makes me think, oh, that's her cat then, right? Or, like, she has some sort of relationship with it. Therefore,
I think she would. I think she brought when she came to be a Kree spy or whatever. I think she brought Goose.
Therefore, she would know the gender, and she said she, and Fury just didn't check and said he. That's what I'm going with.
Yeah.
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 Agreed.
So
Canon.
So the thing is, like, one of the theory I saw, and I don't know what to think of it, is that Hawkeye and his family is actually Talos and his family. There was a theory online.
No.
And I was like, no, let's not make Talos that boring. But
that would be interesting, though.
Yeah.
Like, the twist would be interesting.
Right.
I agree.
But I don't know. I mean, I don't see that happening.
No, because they wicked left.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because then in that case, then that's sort of like, okay, then what was Captain Marvel doing all this time? Because the whole point is she's helping them reestablish their colonies and all that. So if he's back, why is she not? Like, you know, in that case, like, it just becomes that kind of confusion that, you know.
Yeah. And I think it was important for her to leave too, because if she hadn't, it would be really hard to explain why she didn't help when everything happened.
Right. Be like, where's she been this whole time?
Yeah.
Well, you know, we have our own personal lives. It's okay. I mean, it's okay. I mean, we assemble every Sunday, but that doesn't mean we don't have our own lives going.
Yeah, but Homegirl's real strong. If anything happens to Earth, she's got to protect it. She already basically told the Kree, like, sup, I'm the firewall of the entire planet.
Get the fuck out of here.
Oh, how cool is that? When she, like, went through all the ships, and then she went, and the Kree, like, all right.
That was great.
There's our own defense system here. It's just one fucking person. All right.
Like,
cool.
But she also is the mother of Avenger now. You know, the Avengers came from her. Like, you know, that's her code name, or what is that they call it? It's a code name or something.
Yeah, code name.
Yeah, call name. I think they call it call name in military. Yeah, but oh my god. So I don't know where I was going with this. But the other thing that I wanted to discuss, we talked about this previously, even before we saw the movie. Romance, like, you know, there was no romance in there. I mean, we talked about a little bit of the certain queer vibe, and I have a friend who is kind of very against having useless romance for ladies, especially. What's your guys' thought on that?
On the lack of romance?
No,
is that the question?
No. The question is, like, you know, having a tacked on romance. I personally don't like it in superhero movies when there is a token girlfriend for no reason whatsoever. But then my thing is, like, if the gentleman gets to have token girlfriend, why can't ladies have a token boyfriend / girlfriend or whatever? But here there was none of that. What's your thought on that?
In most origin stories, I mean, have we had much of that? I guess in some movies, but not.
Because Thor did.
That's true.
Iron Man did.
That's true.
Even Doctor Strange has that token, like, you know, Rachel McAdams completely wasted.
I just don't. I don't know. I didn't think she needed it. I thought that was kind of nice, actually.
Right.
I think it would have been too much to throw into this one. So I'm glad that they didn't. I still think, like, if they did that later, it'd be fine. Because maybe she'll get with Rhodey or whatever his name is. I don't know. Probably not, but
age discrepancy for the real life actors is a little much.
Hollywood doesn't care. Like,
I know, but still, it's a bit much. I would rather she gets with Falcon, though.
I think that'd be a better fit. She and Falcon would make sense if they were going to do it.
Right. You know. But I really do like them. Like, but well, even in the comics, though, it just kind of came out of nowhere. Or all the
we'll
stuff.
Get Rich Rider, and we'll finally have the Nova Corps movie that I want, and then maybe Rich Rider and Captain Marvel can get together, and that would be fine. All I want is Annihilation Saga, you guys. That's all I care about.
Right? That's story is so good. I really want that to happen. But anyway, so what's the wish list for Endgame? Our prediction and our wish list. What do you think is gonna happen? Because we don't know anything.
Time travel.
No.
I predict what I've always predicted, that Doctor Strange knew exactly how it had to go down and orchestrated it from the beginning in a very Sherlock way. They'll have to do some quantum realm thing because that's already spoiled. And I hope that Captain Marvel and Thanos get to do a really good beatdown that ends in, a good ending for Iron Man and Cap. That's all. Oh, I want Flerken to meet Rocket. That's what I want.
That was my number one. That was my number one.
Sorry, Kristan.
That's it.
What else do you want?
That's all I want to happen. That's all I care about. That's all I want now.
Yeah, I want Flerken, Goose and the Rocket situation. Yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen. I know for a fact that when Captain America says that, is this a new message, that he's not looking at Ant-Man. He doesn't give a shit about Ant-Man. He doesn't even know who this Ant-Man is or what his power is. He's excited to probably hear from Iron Man or something. I don't know. And then of course, I want to see I don't know. I want to see more team ups, more teams doing things. Different teams go into different things and doing things.
Different people who haven't gotten to interact. That would be cool.
Right, people we don't see interact.
Like all the Black Panther ladies, I want all of them to get to do more things with other members.
Well, yeah, Oka is alive. Nakia, we don't know. Shuri, we don't know. So, well, in the trailer, it showed the Shuri shows as missing. So, one of the cool Easter egg that I saw though is they were looking at missing numbers. In when Captain America and Black Widow is standing there, and it's exactly half of world population. It's exactly half, 3.5 billion. I thought that was a pretty cool touch.
Nice.
Anyway, so any final thoughts, remarks?
No, I really like it, and I'm glad it's here. Kristan?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think it's really important. I think it's really cool that a lot of Air Force ladies are going to see a character like this. I think I mentioned to you guys the other day, Good Morning America had half the crowd of Air Force women, and they did these intro things about how excited they were to see the movie, and I'm like, that's really cool. If anything, that's amazing that this exists for them, so that's really neat. But I think anyone can find some kind of joy in this movie, so even if you weren't sure you would like it or not, I think everybody should see it, and it was great.
After... What is this?
Oh, I just want to... My little Goose meets Nick Fury is here, guys.
Oh, yeah.
I completely agree. You should see it. There is a lot of things to find. If you as a woman, there is a lot of cool things over there that you would be connecting to. For guys, there is a lot. I still do think you should go and see it, because there have been times when you feel a little unsettled, or you think that you should be doing something, but you just kind of don't know how to attain that, or there are other forces that tells you that you are not the right person for this. So this is that story. I cannot wait for Endgame now. And I cannot wait to see what happens after Endgame, because with Captain Marvel, Black Panther, I think Doctor Strange are the three that they're setting up to be the leader for the next ones. And it's going to be a very good dynamic. And I just hope that someday, eventually, we get to see Miss Marvel. So, yeah. And go read Kelly Sue DeConnick's run. That's a must now.
I have to now.
Yeah, especially there's so many a lot of the commonality and everything, especially from her Carol, that comes from the Carol Corpse miniseries. But you would see there's a lot of that connection.
Okay. Yeah. Well, guys, happy International Women's Day.
Yeah.
And we won't have a show on Sunday because we're having a show tonight. So we will see you next Sunday.
Yeah.
And
That'd be good. Oh, and check out instocktrades.com where you can currently use Raw Shark as the discount code for an extra 3% this weekend. Where you can get the Kelly Sue DeConnick run. If you love the movie, then you may enjoy that. And also free shipping over $50, and it's great, and you should go use their website.
And also pick up Dr. Aphra, the hardcover, the first one, because we have that there right now, 50% off. If you go and pick it up, maybe, because I already ordered mine, so hopefully it'll be here soon, so that the three of us can all talk about Dr. Aphra together. So please do. Please join us.
Yes. Right. Yay, goose. Yay, goose.
Yay, goose. Yay. Well, with that, good night, everybody.
Have a good weekend.
Good night, guys.